Today we're going to make green eggs and ham omelet, and the first thing, I have already heated up my skillet, and I'm just going to put in about a tablespoon of butter. And for one omelet, one 2-egg omelet, you need a 1/4 cup of spinach, but I'm going to be making at least 2 omelets today, so I have a 1/2 cup spinach. And saute just means that you're cooking something in a little bit of butter. Okay, so it doesn't take very long. This is frozen chopped spinach that's already been thawed, and so since it's already chopped up, it won't take very long at all to cook it. We'll pause right there. While the spinach is sauteing, I can go ahead and crack 2 eggs into my bowl. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of water. And what the water does is help to loosen up the egg. And then I'll just whisk this together and add some salt and pepper to taste. You want to mix this up until it's like a lemony yellow. Just grab the salt and pepper. They're going to fall. Just some salt and pepper to taste. And we'll check on our spinach. The spinach has been sauteing for about 2 minutes, and it's not going to change in color much. It's just to soften the spinach up a little bit, so it only takes about 2 minutes. So now I have my sauteed spinach. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of it to my 2 eggs and my water and salt and pepper, and just mix that all together. And then we'll put this in the omelet pan with 1 tablespoon of butter. Okay, this is an omelet pan. It's an 8-inch pan, and I'm going to put a tablespoon of butter. The pan is already hot, obviously, and just put a tablespoon of butter in. Make sure it gets spread all around. The butter just helps to keep the omelet from sticking so that it'll flip nicely. You don't want the butter to brown, so as soon as you put the butter in and it's melted, then go ahead and pour in your egg mixture. And just let it sit for a minute. It needs to set up. And as we have learned, the white is the albumin, and we need to let it, as it coagulates, as it turns from a liquid to a solid, it coagulates. The protein molecules start to unwind, and then they clump together, and that's what turns your egg from a liquid into a solid. So we just need to wait for a little bit for it to set. It's a medium heat that we're using, and you can see right here on the edges, it's starting to set a little bit around the edges, but we need to let it set a little bit more. Need to get my spatula is what I need, but I don't want to let this burn. So now it's starting, you can see it's set more around the edges. And so now I can let the runny egg slide underneath. Just tilt the pan and let the runny slide under. There are 2 ways that you can flip it. I'm going to let it set a little bit more. You want it shiny when you flip it, but you don't want it really runny. So we need to let it cook a little bit more here, because that's still too runny. You don't want to flip it yet. So you could try and flip the whole thing over with your turner. However, I find it easier, and I find it more successful, to use the plate method. So, okay, that looks pretty good. So, you put the plate upside down over the pan. You have to make sure that you hold the pan firmly hold the plate firmly on the pan. Flip. Nice golden brown there. And then you just slide the omelet back in the pan. And now we're going to put in our 2 tablespoons of cheese. You have to have it ready to go quickly. 2 tablespoons of cheese. And this is just shredded cheddar. And 1 slice of ham. Right over top. And we're waiting for this side, the bottom side now, to turn golden brown like the top was. And because it doesn't take long, so you need to have all of your toppings ready, or all of your fillings. Then fold it in half. And do not slide it onto this plate that you used for flipping, because that has raw runny egg. So you need to get a new plate. And slide your omelet onto a nice clean plate. You'll cut that in half, and that will be used to serve 2 people. Then you should have already had your your eggs mixed for the next omelet, and then so it'll be ready to go into the pan as soon as you're done cooking your first omelet. Omelets are a great way to use lots of different vegetables and meat that you may like. You could chop up some green onions, mushrooms, tomatoes. You could use pepperoni. You could also use lots of leftover cooked meat, like chicken, beef, whatever you may have, whatever leftovers you may have, but your meat does need to be cooked first. And then if you're using any hard, crunchy vegetables, you should saute those first as well, like we did with the spinach. So for the onions, I would probably want to saute those just a little bit before I added them to my omelet.